Welcome back to Mac Stories Unwind. I'm John Voorhees, and Federico Vitici is with me. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm having a good day. We're having a big storm here. We're having a really big storm.
So is it a good day?
Well, it's all right. It's a nice, cozy day in the house. I'm not going out for a while. I may have to go out in the rain tomorrow. We're having a bit of a tropical storm because there is a hurricane about to hit Florida, and it always shoots some rain up to North Carolina. It doesn't really do much more than that, though.
I just had a thought.
What's that?
Just 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
That I am compelled to share on the show.
What's that?
I think you should get a dog.
Oh, you know what? I have had dogs when I was a kid, and I like dogs. My wife is not a dog person.
Oh,
Jennifer, that is one thing.
That is the one thing about Jennifer I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know, and she's just not a dog person.
That is heartbreaking.
Yeah, she's always been. I think she's a little afraid of dogs. All dogs, not even nice dogs.
A small one, very friendly.
I know.
No pets. No, I don't know. Goldfish, goldfish, cat.
No. I don't like cats personally that much myself.
You like cats.
I would have a dog if it wasn't if I wasn't the only one who had to care for it. Plus, yeah, I don't know. So we're not going to be getting any pets, unfortunately. But a good suggestion. Normal suggestion.
Okay. I'll try again. I'll bring this up whenever I see Jennifer next in person.
Yes, you'll have to talk. You'll have to talk to her about it. One of her problems, I think, is she's a very friendly person, but when she sees a dog, she has a hard time not wearing that on her face. Her not liking the dog, she makes a bit of a face, and I think dog owners don't appreciate that. You know?
Okay.
She doesn't. She makes a bad first impression with dog owners. So
we will work on it. Don't worry.
We'll work on it. Hey, before we even get into our main part of the segment here, I wanted to mention that I sent Federico a great photo or a little video of some black vultures yesterday.
Oh my God! Yeah.
These were this is the closest I've ever gotten to them, Federico.
Yeah.
They were gross, weren't they?
They were kind of gross. Yes, I was doing something with Sylvia, and I was like, "Hey, check out what John sent me." She's like,
"What's wrong with John?"
I'm quoting. Why is John sending you videos of birds? That was the question
for the show. Show.
I replied, "Oh, it's a long story on Unwind." That's how I sort of summed it up. Yeah.
It was like 20. There were like 20 of these vultures. They were all around a dumpster. It was a dumpster that was enclosed in like a little fence, and they were all perched on the edges of the fence, kind of diving into the dumpster because there was a restaurant nearby. I have not seen as many vultures since the last time we talked about this, but boy, there were a lot of these. I went to the eye doctor the other day, and this was in the parking lot on one side, and I drove by and had to stop and take a picture for you.
I saw a black bird today, like a crow or something, playing with a Coca-Cola can by himself.
Really?
Today.
Interesting.
And I kind of thought, oh, that's so cute. I kind of had the instinct of going there and playing with the bird, and then I realized, you don't go near birds and play with them.
Yeah, you don't want to get pecked.
Yeah, exactly. But it was kind of cute. He was just throwing the can and then chasing the can and throwing it again. Kind of like a dog would do, really. Yeah. Right. I gotta be honest. Like I wanna ideally I wanna be friendly to all animals. Mm-hmm. Even though I know that some animals you cannot be friendly with.
Right. They won't be friendly back.
I actually have, and hold on, I have a link for you. There was a thing in Rome, in actually my area of Rome. This week. There were sightings of a wolf.
A wolf?
A wolf in an urban area. And so there was this Facebook group that was sharing these sightings, these photos of this wolf that was roaming a nearby dog park. Not the one in front of my house, the one 5 kilometers away. So still like the northern area of Rome.
Sure.
And apparently this wolf was like obviously lost. It was a female wolf. She didn't know where she was going. And she also attacked a person who was walking with her
Oh,
dog
wow.
and also jumped on a car. And today I was very concerned. Unfortunately, there's a lot of there's been a, not to get political, but there's been this push, unfortunately, given our current political climate in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
to kill this wildlife that gets into towns and cities. So the wild boars, wolves. There's been this movement toward allowing hunters to just kill them instead of dealing with the problem in a non-deadly way. So I was very relieved this morning when I saw an article on one of the Rome news websites that the wolf was captured, sedated, and taken to the national park in Abruzzo, which is in this area in central Italy. It's a beautiful national park. So the wolf is safe. She's been taken to a secure location in a national park. But yeah, there was a wolf.
That's crazy. I mean,
Rome.
there are coyotes around here, but not wolves.
Yeah,
Coyotes are smaller. They look more like dogs, but they will eat your pets if you have a small dog or a cat or something like that.
This was a young wolf, a young female wolf.
Wow.
So yeah, crazy. But yeah, that was my wildlife update as a regular segment.
I used to see the coyotes when I was in Chicago. They used to run around along the train tracks into the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never seen a coyote in my life. Never. I wanted to ask you before we share our picks for this week.
Uh-huh.
How's your new iPhone?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I got the Pro Max in white, and 512 gigabytes, and in a lot of ways, it's not a lot different than my old iPhone in that, when I was setting them up, I put them side by side on my desk, and it is bigger. Not a ton bigger though, and it doesn't bother me that it's bigger than the old one. That one hasn't been a problem. I got used to the narrower bezels very quickly, but though it was very noticeable when I first got it and set it up, which I like. The battery just lasts forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. I've noticed some heat today when I had the camera going, but for the most part, it's not getting nearly as hot as my old phone. And so I think that the thermal stuff that they're doing must be working, because even though I was, usually the first few days, your phone gets pretty hot because you're setting it up and it's indexing and all that. And then I put 18.1 on, and it's obviously doing all the stuff in the background for Apple Intelligence. And it's still, it would get warm, but it hasn't gotten like uncomfortably hot like my 15 Pro Max would. And then there's the camera, and I've been playing around with that. The camera control, to me, was not nearly as hard to use and fiddly as a lot of people said it was. And so it was kind of a pleasant surprise. It's a little too much if you're like, I was outside at a music festival in the bright sunlight, and I was trying to fiddle around with the controls and switch lenses and things with the half press. And that was a little hard where, you're squinting in the sun, in the bright sun, and you've got sunglasses on and that kind of thing. But normal day-to-day stuff, like if I'm taking a picture of something in my house or something, I haven't had a problem with it. I've kind of liked it. I love the fact that you can get the camera open just by pressing the button down and then take a quick photo. I don't generally do a lot of switching of the controls day to day, so hasn't been a big deal.
All right. What's your pick this week?
My pick. I do have a pick. I have a pick. It's the movie Fall Guy.
This is on my watch list. Okay.
This is one you'll like. I think Sylvia will probably like it too. It's it's an action movie, but it's also kind of a romantic comedy at the same time. It's got a little bit of everything, which I really like. It's got Ryan Gosling as the lead in it, who plays Colt, who's a stunt guy. And Fall Guy is... the name of the movie comes from a 70s TV show in the US.
I heard about this on the Triple Click podcast.
And it's got a little bit of the character of that, but it doesn't have that plot at all. It's very different than the old TV show, but it does have kind of a lot of kind of funniness to it and comedy along with the romantic stuff going on. But Ryan Gosling plays Colt, and then there's the female lead is Jodie, who's played by Emily Blunt, And then Gail is Hannah Waddingham, who's from Ted Lasso, and she plays Jodie's producer. And the plot revolves around Jodie's, who has become a director and is putting together a movie, and her stunt guy gets hurt or something, and she needs somebody else. And so she rekindles her old flame, Colt. He gets brought in, unbeknownst to her, to do the stunts. And so there's a lot of back and forth because they had broken up after he got injured years before, and they kind of drifted apart. And then he shows up on set one day. And so there's this whole tension between the two of them. And at the same time, there's a bit of a mystery behind the whole thing about what's going on. And I really enjoyed that because not only is it's got this mystery aspect to it, but of course, being a story about stunt people, it has some great action sequences, some, car jumps, fights. There's a fight where Ryan Gosling and another character are in a fist fight inside a dumpster that's being pulled behind a truck that's going through the streets of a city. I mean, it's just it's just crazy stuff, and it's kind of a long movie, but I really enjoyed it. It went by really quickly. This was like probably this was my big break during the review season as I watched this the weekend before we published everything. But yeah, it's a really good movie. I highly recommend it.
Nice. I started playing The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
I want to talk to you about this because you, of course, are a night owl and got this at midnight and started playing. I did not get it at midnight. I got up this morning and played just through to the opening title sequence.
Yeah. So this game, you play as Zelda. I was not expecting how this game starts. I'm not sure I want to spoil it because I think it makes a great first impression. Let's just say that it reminded me a lot of Tears of the Kingdom, like how you almost start in the middle of something, right? Mm-hmm. And then of course something happens and you control Zelda. And Zelda, Princess Zelda, unlike Link, at least initially, cannot use doesn't have a sword, doesn't have a shield. Instead, she gets this tri-rod. And this tri-rod, which looks like a witch's staff, basically, allows Zelda to create echoes. Echoes are basically copies of certain objects or enemies in the world. So you can create copies of a kitchen table or a bed or a crate or a box. You can create copies of moblins and keezes, which are the bats of Zelda. And basically it's very puzzle oriented, but also there are in classic Zelda tradition, this is a top-down Zelda game based on I want to say the same engine as the Link's Awakening remake.
I think
was developed by Grezzo in partnership with Nintendo. And it actually started this game as a Zelda Maker, essentially like the equivalent to Mario Maker. It started as a tool to let you design your own Zelda dungeons. And instead, they pivoted the development to something kind of reminiscent of Tears of the Kingdom and how you can sort of craft your way through puzzles via different approaches. So, for example, when you have a platform that is higher than you can jump, you can fix it by spawning two echoes of two kitchen tables and stacking them up on top of each other, and then you have a staircase basically made of tables. Or you can create a long bridge, for example, by creating copies of beds, and you can just stack the beds horizontally, and you create a sort of little bridge that allows you to cross from a platform to another platform. And the puzzles, I've only played for a couple of hours. I'm up to my first boss fight in the first real dungeon. Apparently there are real dungeons in this game, and the map is massive. I just want to mention this, that the map of the overworld, when you get the map, it's massive, and there are waypoints, sort of similar to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They're not towers, but they are waypoints that allow you to fast travel from one place to another more quickly. And at least based on what I've seen so far in the first 2 or 3 hours of the game, like I appreciate that there are a lot of different approaches that you can take to solve the same puzzle. There's not a single, it's really open-ended that way. Again, very much inspired by Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
I enjoy not only the references to Tears of the Kingdom, like you get, for example, this power that's sort of reminiscent of Ultra Hand, where you can get Try. Try is the little spirit that follows you. It's a little guy that's always flying next to you. So almost like Navi in Ocarina of Time. You can get Try to sort of latch onto objects, and then you can drag those objects, sort of like the Ultra Hand into the Kingdom.
Sure.
So, but I also appreciate, and I was not expecting, the many Wind Waker references. The music, the soundtrack is very Wind Wakery to my ears.
That's true.
And also some of the facial expressions, like if you throw a crate next to an NPC, they make the shocked face, sort of like in Wind Waker, that I thought was really funny and really like a nice throwback. Now, I have noticed, and I'm already doing this, that there are certain echoes that they're so overpowered that when you get them, you're going to reuse them over and over. And so I'm a little concerned that as the game progresses, you're going to run into this problem of, you have infinite creativity, but really you just want to use these 5 powers.
Right.
And I'm also concerned that inventory management is going to be just as bad as Tears of the Kingdom, especially the quick switch menu to choose all of your echoes is just a long horizontal list of stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about this again, I'm sure, here or on NPC, because like this is not a definitive review. This is only my impressions after 3 hours. But the game looks great. There are some frame rate drops, but I mean, this is the swan song for the Nintendo Switch. You know, this console has given us plenty over the past 7 years. So, you know, we'll cut the Switch a little break here. There are the occasional frame rate drops, but the game looks gorgeous. It's beautiful. It sounds great, and it's fun. And ultimately, what matters is that this game with Zelda as the lead protagonist is fun and creative and a great palate cleanser after Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that it's pushing the Switch a little bit because the graphics here just look so good and they're so rich and detailed and colorful.
It's very detailed. It's very detailed. Like especially when you get to the first town and you go into somebody's house, like there's a lot of detail. Like they have flowers and they have, I don't know, something cooking on the stove. Like, and you can make out those details. It's very detailed. And I like how they use, just like they did in Link's Awakening, they do use that sort of like blur around around you to give, what's that photographic effect? What am I thinking of?
Bokeh?
Yeah, but like there's a style where
if
you take a photo of something and there's a lot of bokeh around it, it almost looks like a miniature landscape.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You know, it kind of looks like that, which is just a really impressive visual effect.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. Can you imagine a Pokemon game that had this kind of visuals in it?
I know, right?
Sorry to do that to you, but it looks great, and I think that the combination
tilt shift photography. That's what I'm thinking.
There
tilt
you go.
Shift. It kind of looks like that. It kind of looks like that.
Okay. Yeah, but the combination of the Link's Awakening style animation combined with some of the mechanics that are similar to Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, and incredible orchestration. The music is just amazing.
Really good.
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to be a great game, and I've just barely scratched the surface. I basically did the tutorial is all I had time to do so far.
Which is the opening sequence is great when you exit from that initial area, and the camera pans to show you the entire overworld with Hyrule Castle in the background and then the mountains and everything. Like it's very reminiscent of Breath of the Wild in this case when you exit out of the the what's it called, the cave in the Great Plateau, and Link walks over and the camera zooms out and it shows you Link in front of the Great Plateau. It's very similar to that.
Yeah, it's very cinematic, even though
the Shrine of Resurrection. That's what it was called.
Right. It's very cinematic, even though it's very cartoony at the same time.
It's very cinematic. Yeah. So well, this is what I'm playing now, and it's a new Zelda game. Go get it. It's good.
Good. All right. Yeah, I'll be playing it this weekend too. All right, everybody. That's it for Mac Stories Unwind this week. You can find us over at macstories.net. We're on Mastodon. Just go to vitici.macstories.net and johnvoorhees.macstories.net. Follow us there. And we're on Instagram and Threads. Federico is at Vitici. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees. JOHNVOORHWES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.